I think as an artist, I fell in love with ceramics when I was an undergrad. I started my undergraduate studies thinking I wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer, and I ended up taking the art appreciation class you all have to take as a general elective, and I fell in love with just the idea of how art allows you to think and see things in color, where my pre-law studies only let me see things in black and white. And I fell in love with ceramics because it's extremely malleable. It can be many things, that there's a whole technical aspect to it in terms of like science, of clay formulation, of glaze formulation, and then the process of fire and kiln. So I love that it had this like technical side that you can get really entrenched in the process and the technical aspects of it, and then the creative side where it can be anything. What I love most about teaching ceramics is how everyone kind of comes to clay in their own personal way, of how they take their personal stories or they take the history of ceramics and they bring it into contemporary culture. And because ceramics has one of the longest histories of making in the entire world, and that every culture and civilization has a ceramic tradition, I love how students draw from that and then create works embedded in their personal stories, but also addressing cares and concerns in the world today. And because there's also so much technical aspects, I love seeing how students, what they fall in love with, like whether it's like working with low fire clays and bright colors, or keeping within the natural elements of the material, or how they get super technical with mold making and slip casting, that it kind of has something for everyone.
I like how unpredictable it is. It's a different medium than I'm used to with like painting. What you see is what you get. With ceramics, there's so many steps you don't understand, or you don't know what the piece is going to look like until after it's over. And it goes through 3 different firing process, so you really just have no idea.
I think there's something very satisfying with working with your hands, especially as an artist. That's kind of what I gravitate towards. I don't know, like seeing the finished product is more rewarding than like the steps building up to it. And so I think seeing everyone's pieces done and then once they're fired and glazed is like a whole different experience. Wheel throwing is super fun. I came in actually a couple weeks before we learned and just tried to like learn myself, and I've kind of been addicted ever since. So
one thing I like about ceramics is that you could make a bowl or a cylinder, as you see in front of me. For me, it's very therapeutic, and it gives you kind of like, think about what you're wanting to do as far as like what you want to create for ceramics and what you wanted to, you know, kind of be more creative.
I love materials, and so I've always just enjoyed getting to experiment and work with a variety of materials and learn new materials. So I like doing work with resin and concrete and wood and metal. And it's especially great teaching sculpture because people will come in with ideas or a material that I haven't worked with, and so we get to figure out how to use that material and what to do with it. And it's just fun to see what manifests out of a raw material.
What I like most about teaching sculpture is just that there's so many different ways to make sculpture. It's not relegated to a particular material or size or way of working. You can do just about anything, and it's really immediate. So sometimes like in photography or in painting, you have to deal with like a surface right away, you have to deal with a process or a camera. And in sculpture, I feel like you can just move an object around and it can change the way it seems. So it's really immediate, and I like its relationship to everyday objects.
I love the instructors, and the facility is really, really good. We have a great workshop, and our workers are great that work in the workshop that help us out. It's just really easy to access everything, like 24/7, and then the instructors are just really, really good.
It's fun to see something like physical come out of what you're doing. It's very like hands-on and satisfying when it turns out right.
My favorite thing about sculpting is the ability to shape a reality. It's kind of different from other arts in that you get to make an object that shares your physical space. So I feel like that's really unique and probably my favorite part about it.